Life rarely breaks you with one great disaster. It breaks you slowly. Through disappointment that keeps returning, through uncertainty that refuses to provide an answer, through betrayal from someone you trusted, through plans collapsing after you gave them everything, through the quiet thought that appears late at night. I cannot handle one more thing. That thought is where the real danger begins. Pain is difficult, but the belief that you are powerless inside pain can make one hard moment spread into your entire identity. A failed plan becomes, my life is a failure. One rejection becomes, nothing will ever work. One betrayal becomes, nobody can be trusted. One anxious morning becomes proof that you are no longer strong. But the strongest people are not those who avoid hardship. They are the people who train their minds before hardship arrives, and return to that training when life becomes louder than philosophy. The Stoics did not develop their ideas in a world without loss, illness, political danger, exile, grief, or uncertainty. They asked a practical question. When events refuse to obey you, what part of the moment still belongs to your responsibility? Epictetus began with a distinction. Some things depend on us, and others do not. You cannot command the past, another person's character, the weather, the market, the final outcome, or every condition affecting your life. But your judgment, preparation, values, chosen response, and next action belong much closer to you. This distinction does not remove pain. It prevents pain from receiving authority over everything. Stoicism is not a promise that you will remain perfectly calm. It is not a demand to smile during tragedy. It does not tell you to tolerate abuse, ignore danger, or refuse help. It teaches you to see clearly enough that fear does not invent extra disasters, anger does not choose your character, and uncertainty does not cancel responsible action. In this video, you will learn 10 Stoic rules to use when everything appears to be going wrong. You will learn how to stop demanding that life follow your plan, control the first interpretation, separate pain from panic, prepare for adversity without living in fear. Stop building identity around one failure. Use manageable discomfort as resilience training. Protect attention during chaos. Let difficult people reveal themselves. Measure character rather than outcomes, and prepare your response before the next test arrives. Do not try to remember all 10 during your hardest moment. Choose 2 or 3. Write them down. Practice them during smaller difficulties so they become available when the stakes rise. And stay until the final rule. It turns resilience from a reaction into preparation. Most people wait until pressure arrives before deciding who they want to be. By then, emotion is already making suggestions. You may not control what happens next, but hardship does not automatically get to decide who meets it. Let us begin with the source of much unnecessary suffering. The belief that reality broke a contract it never signed. Rule 1. Stop demanding that life follow your plan. Planning is wise. Demanding that reality obey the plan is a source of suffering. You expect the project to succeed because you worked hard. You expect people to be loyal because you were loyal. You expect good behavior to receive a fair reward. You expect the day to unfold according to the calendar. Then the deadline changes, the person leaves, the opportunity disappears, or the result ignores your effort. The first Stoic rule is to stop demanding that life follow your plan. This does not mean abandoning goals or expecting failure. It means holding the plan firmly enough to act and lightly enough to adapt. Use 2 sentences. My preferred outcome is. If conditions change, my responsibility is. For example, my preferred outcome is to receive the promotion. If I do not, my responsibility is to examine feedback. preserve professionalism, and decide the next career action. My preferred outcome is for this relationship to heal. If the other person refuses accountability, my responsibility is to protect my boundaries and accept the evidence. My preferred outcome is for the launch to succeed. If it fails, my responsibility is to learn from data and improve the next attempt. Preference allows action. Demand creates fragility. A hidden demand often appears through the word should. This should not be happening. They should understand. I should be further ahead. Sometimes should identifies injustice or a standard that deserves action, but sometimes it is an argument with a fact that has already arrived. Ask, is this a standard I can act upon, or a demand that the past become different? If action exists, take it. Correct the mistake, report the misconduct, change the plan, seek support. If no action can alter what has already happened, acceptance becomes the beginning of movement. Say, I do not approve of this. I accept that it is now part of reality. Acceptance is not endorsement. It is ending the negotiation with a fact. Imagine sailing with a destination. You choose direction, prepare the vessel, and study conditions. You do not command the wind. When it changes, wisdom adjusts the sail. The rigid person calls adaptation defeat. The resilient person calls it navigation. Create a plan B before important events. Not because you believe the worst will happen, but because flexibility protects purpose. If the meeting is cancelled, what remains possible? If the technology fails, what is the backup? If the person says no, what is the next respectful step? The goal is not to control every scenario. It is to stop making one preferred route the only imaginable path forward. Life will violate your expectations. Do not let it take your ability to adjust. Rule 2. Control the first interpretation. The event happens once. The mind can make it happen 100 times. A message does not arrive. The mind says, they are rejecting me. A project fails. The mind says, I am not capable. A person criticizes you. The mind says, everyone sees me as weak. The second rule is to control the first interpretation before it becomes a complete story. Your first thought is often an impression, not a verdict. Epictetus trained students to examine impressions before accepting them. The event and the judgment about the event are not identical. Use a two-line exercise. The observable event is, the meaning my mind is adding is, for example, the observable event is that the client rejected the proposal. The meaning my mind is adding is that I have no talent and my career is over. Now ask, what evidence supports this meaning? What evidence does not? What are 3 other explanations? What useful action remains? The proposal may have been weak. The budget may have changed. The timing may have been wrong. The client may prefer another direction. You do not need to choose the most comforting explanation. You need to stop choosing the most destructive explanation without evidence. Use precise language. Not, everything is falling apart. Say, 2 important plans failed this week. Not, nobody supports me. Say, the person I expected to support this decision disagreed. Not, I always ruin things. Say, I made an error in this conversation. Precision returns scale. It also reveals action. 2 failed plans can be reviewed. 1 disagreement can be discussed. 1 error can be repaired. Everything cannot. Be equally careful with positive interpretation. A success does not prove you are invincible. Praise does not create permanent worth. A good outcome can contain luck. The Stoic mind remains teachable under both failure and success. When the first interpretation arrives, do not fight it aggressively. Name it. My mind is predicting. My mind is personalizing. My mind is turning one event into an identity. Then return to facts. The event may still hurt. But pain becomes easier to carry when imagination is no longer adding unsupported weight. You cannot always control the first thought. You can train the thought that comes second. Rule 3. Separate pain from panic. Pain says, "This is difficult." Panic says, "This will never end. I cannot survive it, and everything is ruined." The third rule is to separate pain from panic. Pain is information. It may reveal loss, danger, disappointment, exhaustion, or a violated value. Panic is the mind's attempt to solve the entire future in one moment. When pressure rises, begin with the body. Exhale slowly, relax the jaw, lower the shoulders. Feel both feet on the floor. Name 5 things you can see if you need to return attention to the room. The purpose is not instant calm. It is enough stability to prevent the alarm from becoming the decision maker. Then reduce the time horizon. Do not ask, "How will I survive the next year?" Ask, "What must happen in the next hour?" Do not ask, "How will I repair my entire life?" Ask, "What is the next responsible action?" Call the person, drink water, review the facts, leave the unsafe environment, schedule the appointment, send the necessary message, rest long enough to think. Small action does not make the problem small, it makes action possible. Use the emergency versus discomfort test. Is there immediate danger? Does this require urgent medical, legal, financial, or safety action? Or does it feel urgent because uncertainty is emotionally uncomfortable? If danger exists, act and seek appropriate support. If the situation is discomfort, stop treating the feeling as proof of catastrophe. Say, "This is painful, pain is present, wisdom is still possible." Avoid demanding that you feel calm before acting well. Your hands may shake during the necessary conversation. You may cry while making the plan. You may feel afraid while asking for help. Courage is not emotional silence. It is useful action while the emotion remains. Also know when philosophy is insufficient by itself. Severe anxiety, trauma, grief, abuse, and mental health crises may require qualified support. Seeking it is not weakness. It is accurate use of available resources. The resilient person does not prove strength by carrying every burden alone. They separate what must be endured from what can be treated, shared, changed, or escaped. Pain may be unavoidable. Panic is not always preventable, but panic does not need complete authority over what you do next. Rule 4. Prepare for adversity without living in fear. There are 2 ways to imagine difficulty. One prepares you, the other exhausts you. The 4th rule is to prepare for adversity without living in fear. The Stoics practiced anticipating possible setbacks. This is sometimes called premeditation of adversity. The purpose was not to predict disaster. It was to reduce surprise and identify a response. Preparation ends with an action. Worry repeats the threat. Choose one important plan. Ask, what is the most likely obstacle? What part can I prepare? What will I do if it occurs? Create if-then plans. If the presentation technology fails, I will use the printed outline. If the conversation becomes insulting, I will state the boundary and leave if it continues. If the application is rejected, I will request feedback, revise, and submit the next one within a week. If anxiety rises, I will take one slow breath and answer only the question in front of me. The response becomes easier to retrieve because it was selected while the mind was calm. Set a preparation limit. 5 or 10 minutes may be enough. After that, return to the present duty. If you keep imagining new disasters without creating new actions, preparation has become worry. Also prepare resources, emergency savings where possible, updated documents, relevant contact information, skills that increase options, honest relationships, physical and mental health support. Resilience is not only a mindset, it is also practical preparation. But do not attempt to eliminate uncertainty completely. No plan covers everything. Trying to prepare for every possibility can become another form of fear. Your deepest preparation is confidence in a method. See the facts. Identify control. Protect what matters. Ask for help. Take the next action. Adapt. You may not know the exact problem coming next. You can train a reliable way of meeting problems. Fear says, if I cannot predict everything, I am unsafe. Wisdom says, I will prepare what is reasonable and trust myself to respond to what remains. Do not live inside the rehearsal. Prepare, then return to life. Rule 5. Stop building your identity around one facia. Failure describes an outcome. The mind turns it into a person. I failed becomes I am a failure. The 5th rule is to stop building identity around one failure. Separate the event from the label. Do not say, I am terrible at this. Say, this attempt failed because... Then finish the sentence with evidence. The preparation was incomplete. The timing was wrong. The method did not work. The environment changed. The communication failed. The skill is not yet developed. Some factors may be outside your control. Others belong to your correction. Use a failure review. What was the goal? What happened? What part was mine? What part was external? What will change in the next attempt? What remains worth pursuing? Do not automatically assume persistence is wise. Sometimes failure reveals that the goal, timing, or method should change. Stoic resilience is not blind repetition. It is loyalty to reason and values, not to one route. Also resist the opposite distortion. Success does not make you permanently successful. A good result may include luck. Continue practicing the conduct that deserves trust. Identity should rest less on outcomes and more on how you meet them. You can become someone who reviews honestly, someone who returns, someone who changes strategy without abandoning values, someone who accepts correction, someone who loses without becoming cruel. This identity is available even when the result disappoints you. Create evidence quickly after failure. Take one small action within 24 hours if circumstances allow. Open the document. Send the next application. Schedule the conversation. Return to training. Repair the mistake. The action prevents failure from becoming a complete stop. Do not rush through grief or serious loss, only to preserve a productivity streak. Different failures require different timing, but once the lesson is clear and action is possible, move. The mind will say, what if it happens again? Answer, then I will have new information and another response. One failure is part of your history. It does not automatically become your identity or your prophecy. Rule 6. Use manageable discomfort as resilience training. A person who escapes every discomfort becomes fragile without noticing. Boredom sends them to the phone. Criticism sends them into defense. Uncertainty sends them into overthinking. The absence of praise makes effort feel pointless. The 6th rule is to practice manageable discomfort before life chooses it for you. Choose one safe, proportionate discomfort. Take a walk without headphones. Sit quietly for 10 minutes. Begin important work before entertainment. Eat a simple meal. Wait before satisfying a harmless craving. Ask the question that may reveal what you do not know. Publish work before it feels perfect. Say no without producing 5 excuses. The purpose is not suffering. It is proving that an unpleasant feeling can be present without becoming an instruction. During the practice, notice the mind. I need relief now. I cannot tolerate this. Something is wrong because this feels uncomfortable. Replace exaggeration with accuracy. This is uncomfortable, temporary, and manageable. That sentence teaches proportion. Do not make the practice extreme. Injury, sleep deprivation, dangerous exposure, and ignoring health needs are not Stoic virtue. Wisdom and temperance govern courage. Adapt to your health and seek qualified guidance where appropriate. The most valuable discomfort is often emotional. Allow someone to disagree with you. Let a message wait until you can answer thoughtfully. Admit that you were wrong. Enter a room where you are a beginner. Ask for help. Set a boundary and tolerate the other person's disappointment. Each experience creates evidence. Disagreement is survivable. Embarrassment passes. Uncertainty can be carried. A craving does not command. You can act without perfect confidence. This evidence becomes available when larger hardship arrives. You are not meeting discomfort for the first time. You have practiced staying present without immediate escape. Resilience is not built only during crisis. Crisis reveals what ordinary practice made available. Train quietly. Train safely. Train before the test. Rule 7. Protect your attention during chaos. Chaos does not only create problems, it creates noise around the problems. Messages, opinions, rumors, catastrophic predictions, endless updates. The 7th rule is to protect your attention during chaos. When everything feels urgent, use 3 categories. Act now, schedule, release. Act now includes immediate safety, health, deadlines, essential communication, and decisions that cannot reasonably wait. Schedule includes important actions that need time but not panic. Release includes information you cannot use, arguments with the past, repeated checking, and opinions that do not affect the decision. Write the categories. Do not carry them only inside a crowded mind. Limit input. Choose 1 or 2 reliable information sources. Set specific times for updates. Stop refreshing the same problem every 5 minutes. More information does not always create more control. Sometimes it creates more agitation without changing action. Protect sleep where possible. Eat, move, maintain basic routines. These actions can appear unimportant beside a large crisis, but a neglected body makes clear judgment harder. Also, protect attention from imaginary conversations. Someone disappointed you. You rehearse the speech for hours. Ask, is there a real conversation I need to have? If yes, schedule it and prepare the main point. If no, the rehearsal is only consuming the energy required elsewhere. Use one-task focus. During chaos, multitasking feels responsible because many things matter. But switching constantly can reduce the quality of every response. Choose the next essential action. Complete or advance it. Then reassess. This is not denial, it is triage. Attention is limited, and crisis increases the cost of wasting it. Other people may demand access to your mind because they are anxious. Listen with compassion where responsibility exists. But do not let every fear become your assignment. Say, I understand the concern. Here is what I can do now. I will update you at 4. I do not have new information yet. Clarity prevents anxiety from creating false promises. When the world becomes loud, your first duty is not to match its volume. It is to identify what deserves your next clear action. Rule 8. Let difficult people reveal their character. Hard times reveal more than your own character. They reveal the people around you. Some become generous, some disappear. Some use your vulnerability to gain control. Some make promises and vanish when action is required. The 8th rule is to let difficult people reveal their character without explaining away the evidence. Observe patterns. Do they listen when you communicate a boundary? Do they take responsibility? Do apologies produce changed behavior? Do they respect private information? Do they support you only when your success does not challenge them? Do they create confusion, then blame you for reacting? Do not judge someone forever by one imperfect moment. You also fail under pressure. Look for accountability and change. An incident followed by honest repair is different from a repeated pattern followed by excuses. Stop falling in love with potential while ignoring conduct. You may hope the person becomes reliable. Hope does not require giving them responsibilities they repeatedly mishandle. You may forgive someone. Forgiveness does not require restoring the same access. You may understand why someone behaves badly. Understanding does not require tolerating harm. Use graduated trust. Give access according to evidence. If someone shares private information, share less. If someone repeatedly misses commitments, create a backup. If a person becomes insulting, end the conversation. If behavior involves abuse, threats, stalking, discrimination, or danger, prioritize safety and appropriate support. Stoicism is not silent endurance of preventable harm. Avoid the revenge response. You do not need to expose every difficult person publicly or make them regret losing you. Reduce access. Document where necessary. Communicate once. Leave when wisdom requires it. Let their behavior become information rather than a lifelong argument. The person may call your boundary selfish because they benefited from its absence. Listen once. Check whether the boundary is proportionate and responsible. Then remain consistent. Difficult people can teach discernment if you stop demanding that they become different before you act wisely. Let them reveal themselves. Believe patterns. Choose access accordingly. Rule 9. Measure yourself by conduct, not outcomes. Outcomes matter. They are also unreliable judges of character. You can prepare well and lose. You can act carelessly and win. You can tell the truth and be rejected. You can manipulate people and receive applause. The 9th rule is to measure yourself primarily by conduct, not outcomes alone. After a difficult event, ask, did I see the facts accurately? Did I act with courage? Did I treat people justly? Did I govern impulse? Did I fulfill my responsibility? Did I learn from the result? These questions reflect the Stoic virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. They give you a stable standard without ignoring performance. If the strategy failed, change it. If the business loses money, numbers matter. If the audience leaves early, retention matters. If your action harmed someone, impact matters. Stoicism is not protection from evidence. The distinction is between using outcomes to improve behavior and using outcomes to declare total worth. Suppose you apply for a position and are rejected. Review the resume, preparation, interview, fit, and feedback. Improve what belongs to you. Do not turn one decision made by another person into a complete verdict on your future. Suppose your project succeeds. Celebrate. Then ask whether the process was honest and repeatable. Do not let success hide poor conduct. Create a nightly scorecard. Wisdom, 1 clear judgment. Courage, 1 action taken despite discomfort. Justice, 1 responsibility fulfilled or repaired. Self-control, 1 impulse governed. You will not score perfectly. That is not the goal. The goal is to know where identity belongs. Reputation exists in other minds. Outcome is shaped partly by conditions. Character is the pattern of choices you continue building. Place your deepest confidence there. Then hardship can change your circumstances without automatically erasing your respect for how you met it. Rule 10. Choose your response before the next test arrives. The worst time to invent your principles is in the middle of pressure. The 10th rule is to choose your response before the next test arrives. Each morning identify 1 likely challenge, a difficult meeting, a delayed answer, a demanding person, a moment of fatigue, an urge to abandon the routine. Then complete 3 lines. The trigger may be, my automatic reaction is, my chosen response will be, For example, the trigger may be criticism during the meeting. My automatic reaction is defending every detail. My chosen response is to pause and ask for one specific example. Or, the trigger may be low motivation. My automatic reaction is checking the phone. My chosen response is to begin for 10 minutes with the phone in another room. Use if-then plans. If anger rises, I will lower my voice and take one breath. If the plan changes, I will identify the new priority instead of complaining for an hour. If the person becomes insulting, I will state the boundary once and leave if it continues. If failure occurs, I will review before making a conclusion about myself. Prepare a short anchor phrase. My response remains mine. Pain is present. Wisdom is still possible. Control the next action. Adapt. Do not collapse. The phrase should sound natural, not theatrical. At night, review the test. Did it appear? What did you feel? What did you do? What worked? What should change tomorrow? This creates a training loop. Prepare, act, review, adjust. You will still react badly sometimes. Do not use failure as proof that training does not work. Use it as information about where training is incomplete. Emotional control is not spontaneous invulnerability. It is the growing availability of better choices. The next test may be different from the one you prepared. The method remains useful. Pause. See the facts. Identify responsibility. Choose the next action. You cannot control when hardship arrives. You can decide whether it meets a completely unprepared mind. Practical Stoic emergency reset. When everything feels as though it is happening at once, use this 5-minute reset. Minute 1, stop new input. Put down the phone. Close unnecessary tabs. Leave the argument if it is safe to pause. Give the mind fewer moving objects. Minute 2, return to the body. Exhale slowly. Relax one point of tension. Feel your feet. Drink water if available. The goal is not perfect calm. It is enough stability to think. Minute 3, write the facts. What happened? What is known? What is only prediction? Do not use everything, always, or never, unless they are literally accurate. Minute 4, divide control. What requires action? What can be scheduled? What is not yours to command? Minute 5, choose one step, one call, one message, one boundary, one request for help, 1 hour of rest before deciding, one document opened. Then perform the step before returning to analysis. This reset does not solve every crisis. It prevents the crisis from expanding through uncontrolled attention. Write it somewhere accessible. When pressure arrives, memory becomes narrow. A prepared sequence can carry you until judgment becomes available again. Stop input, ground the body, name the facts, divide control, take one step. Simple does not mean easy, it means usable. Stay unshaken without becoming hard. To remain unshaken does not mean becoming stone. You will feel loss. You will become tired. Some betrayals will change how you trust. Some failures will require time before you can begin again. Some problems cannot be solved by perspective alone. Stoic strength is not the absence of pain. It is the refusal to let pain choose every belief, every action, and every future possibility. Remember the 10 rules. First, stop demanding that life follow your plan. Prefer, prepare, and adapt. Second, control the first interpretation. Separate observable facts from the story the mind adds. Third, separate pain from panic. Reduce the time horizon and take the next responsible action. Fourth, prepare for adversity without living in fear. Let preparation end with a plan. Fifth, stop building identity around one failure. Review the event and create new evidence. Sixth, use manageable discomfort as resilience training. Teach the mind that preference is not command. Seventh, protect attention during chaos. Act, schedule, or release. Eighth, let difficult people reveal their character. Believe patterns and choose access wisely. 9th, measure yourself by conduct, not outcomes alone. Use results as information without turning them into identity. 10th, choose your response before the next test arrives. Prepare, act, review, and adjust. Now begin a 7-day unshaken mind practice. Each morning, identify one likely test. Write the chosen response. During the day, use the pause. At night, record what happened. Do not ask whether you felt perfectly calm. Ask whether your behavior moved closer to your standard. One pause is evidence. One boundary is evidence. One return after failure is evidence. One moment of asking for help is evidence. One decision not to turn pain into prophecy is evidence. These actions accumulate. Eventually, hardship still hurts, but it no longer surprises you with complete authority. You know what to do first. You know where control ends. You know how to reduce the problem to the next action. You know that failure is information, not identity. You know that difficult people reveal themselves. You know that your character can survive an unwanted outcome. This is quiet resilience, not the confidence that nothing bad will happen. The confidence that when difficulty arrives, you will not abandon every principle you practiced in peace. Do not wait for a crisis to become the person you hope will meet it. Train during the delay. Train during the criticism. Train during the uncomfortable conversation. Train during the ordinary morning when the phone is easier than the work. Hardship tests the same muscles built in small moments. If you are accepting the 7-day practice, write this in the comments. I adapt. I do not collapse. Subscribe for more practical Stoic lessons about resilience, emotional control, discipline, and self-respect. Life may turn against your plan. People may disappoint you. The outcome may refuse your effort. Let the pain be honest. Let the facts be clear. Let the next action remain yours. That is how you stay unshaken without becoming hard.